Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's great to have you here again, and today we've got something truly fascinating to share with you. This story is not just about coins, but about the pursuit of treasure, the history of minting, and the way small, seemingly insignificant objects can hold monumental value. If you've ever wondered about rare coins, or how something so small could become worth millions, then you're in for a treat. Today, we're diving into the world of numismatics, where even a simple quarter can become a multi-million-dollar item under the right circumstances. We're going to take a closer look at a remarkable piece of American history, the 1998 P quarter, which some consider to be among the most valuable coins ever to be discovered. This coin, which might seem ordinary to the untrained eye, has a story that's far from typical. It's a coin that might change the way you look at your spare change forever. Most people don't think twice about the change they receive after buying a cup of coffee or a snack. But for a select few, that simple exchange of currency can lead to the discovery of a coin that's not only rare, but could change their lives. The 1998 P quarter wasn't supposed to be anything special. In fact, like most quarters, it was produced in large numbers at the Philadelphia Mint. The P, mint mark, signifying its place of origin, meant it was just one of millions of coins stamped out that year. But as with many great stories in history, things took a turn when a small mistake was made in the production process, a flaw that, over time, would turn this relatively common coin into a prized possession worth a small fortune. It's these kinds of anomalies in coin production that collectors and investors are always on the lookout for. The coin we're talking about is one of the rarest of its kind. What makes this quarter so valuable is a misstrike that occurred during its minting. The 1998 P quarter, in particular, was the result of a very rare and specific error that made it stand out among millions of other quarters. To understand why this coin could be worth such a large sum, let's first consider the context of coin errors and their significance. The United States Mint produces billions of coins every year, and the vast majority of them are perfect examples of what the Mint intends to produce: crisp, well-struck coins. However, there are occasional errors during the production process, whether from worn-out dies, damaged machinery, or other technical issues, that result in coins being struck incorrectly. Most of these errors are not significant enough to make the coins valuable to collectors, but every once in a while, a mistake occurs that makes a coin extraordinarily rare. Imagine, for a moment, that you are an experienced numismatist or a coin collector, and you come across a coin that looks a little different from all the others you've seen. At first glance, it might seem like a regular 1998 quarter, but on closer inspection, you notice something odd. The design is slightly off-center, or there's a small, yet noticeable flaw in the engraving. You might think, "That's interesting. This coin doesn't look quite right." For most people, that would be the end of the investigation. But for those who understand the nuances of coin collecting, that small flaw might be the key to unlocking a hidden treasure. The 1998 P quarter, in particular, became famous due to a series of specific errors, including a die clash or some form of die damage that resulted in a coin with visible imperfections. What made these imperfections particularly intriguing is that they were not common in quarters minted that year. The error wasn't widespread, and only a handful of these coins were ever produced with such flaws. This is what set them apart from the millions of other regular 1998 P quarters that were in circulation. But why is this specific coin worth so much money? Well, the rarity of this particular error is key. In the world of numismatics, rarity is often the most important factor in determining the value of a coin. A rare coin with a unique flaw or feature can be worth far more than a perfect coin, especially if the flaw is one that occurred during the minting process. This is where the story of the 1998 P quarter takes a truly fascinating turn. As collectors began to take notice of this rare coin and its distinctive characteristics, the value of the 1998 P quarter began to rise. What was once seen as a simple error became a coveted prize among collectors. The rarity of the coin combined with its historical significance, the fact that it was produced during a time when the U.S. Mint was making subtle changes to the design of its coins, added to its appeal. It wasn't just about the error itself. It was about the story behind the coin and the way it fit into the broader context of American numismatic history. The rarity of the 1998 P quarter has made it one of the most sought-after coins in recent years. It's a coin that has captured the imagination of both seasoned collectors and newcomers to the world of coin collecting. As with many rare coins, its value continues to climb as more people become aware of its existence. What makes this coin particularly interesting is how it embodies the very essence of numismatics, the combination of history, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. But what exactly is the current value of a 1998 P quarter? While values for rare coins can fluctuate over time, some of the highest grade examples of this coin have been known to fetch amounts in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And while the value of these coins is certainly impressive, it's not just about the money. For collectors, the value of the coin lies in its rarity, its uniqueness, and the connection it represents to a particular moment in history. Holding a coin like the 1998 P quarter is like holding a piece of the past, a tangible link to the world as it was at the time of its minting. So, how does one go about finding such a rare coin? The answer lies in the art of coin hunting. Coin collectors and enthusiasts often scour change, search through rolls of coins, or even attend coin shows in the hopes of stumbling upon something extraordinary. The thrill of the hunt is part of what makes coin collecting so exciting. Many collectors spend years building their collections, carefully searching for those elusive, rare pieces that can take their collection to the next level. While it's true that finding a 1998 P quarter with the right error can be incredibly rare, it's not impossible. Some collectors have found these valuable coins in their spare change, while others have managed to buy them from auctions or dealers who specialize in rare coins. The key to success is knowing what to look for and being patient. After all, in the world of coin collecting, it's often a matter of luck, knowledge, and persistence. For those who are serious about numismatics, the 1998 P quarter represents an exciting opportunity to own a piece of history. But beyond its monetary value, this coin also serves as a reminder of the way small imperfections can sometimes lead to extraordinary outcomes. It's a reminder that even in the world of money, there's room for something unexpected to be worth far more than anyone could have imagined. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to leave you with a thought. The world of rare coins is full of surprises, and the 1998 P quarter is just one example of how a small mistake during the minting process can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a newcomer to the world of numismatics, the story of the 1998 P quarter is one that reminds us of the excitement and adventure that come with the pursuit of rare and valuable treasures. Thank you for tuning in today, and as always, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep looking at the world around you. You never know when you might stumble upon the next big find. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow coin enthusiasts. Until next time, happy collecting. Next 1983 D quarter. It's fantastic to have you here again, and as always, I'm excited to share another incredible story that blends the world of history, mystery, and treasure. Today, we're going to dive deep into an extraordinary tale involving a coin that has captivated the minds of collectors and investors alike, the 1983 D quarter. At first glance, this quarter may seem like nothing out of the ordinary. But trust me, what we're about to uncover will surprise you and change the way you think about coins forever. Imagine you're standing in front of a glass display case at an auction or a coin show, looking at a quarter, just a regular 1983 D quarter, a coin that's still in circulation today, used by millions of people every day. It's worn, perhaps a little faded, and shows the typical marks of handling over the years. To the casual observer, this is just a quarter. But to a seasoned numismatist or a collector with an eye for detail, this quarter is much more than just pocket change. In fact, this particular coin has become one of the most valuable and sought-after treasures in the world of coin collecting. What makes this 1983 quarter so valuable, you ask? Well, it all boils down to one simple mistake. A minting error that turned a seemingly ordinary coin into an object worth millions of dollars. It's a remarkable story of how something that was never meant to be special became a monumental piece of American history. Let's rewind a bit and talk about the circumstances that made this coin so famous. The year is 1983, and the U.S. Mint is busy cranking out quarters to meet the demands of the growing American economy. At that time, the design of the quarter was still the traditional Washington quarter, which had been in circulation for decades. Nothing about the 1983 quarter was particularly special. It was produced in mass quantities at the Denver Mint, just like the millions of other quarters that were minted that year. However, what set this particular coin apart was a rare error during the minting process. It's important to note that the vast majority of coins produced by the U.S. Mint are perfectly struck, adhering to the strictest standards of precision. But occasionally, errors happen, sometimes due to worn-out dies, broken machinery, or other unforeseen factors. These errors can range from small and barely noticeable flaws to massive misstrikes that make the coin unique and incredibly valuable. When these errors are discovered, they often spark a feeding frenzy among collectors, as the rarity of the coin becomes the key factor driving its worth. In the case of the 1983 quarter, the error was an exceptionally rare one, a subtle but significant flaw that turned what should have been a standard coin into one of the most valuable in history. What made the 1983 quarter so exceptional was the fact that it was struck with a die that had been severely misaligned. This misalignment caused part of the design to be improperly stamped onto the coin, resulting in an incomplete image of George Washington on the obverse side, along with a distorted depiction of the eagle on the reverse. To the untrained eye, it may look like a small defect, but to the sharp-eyed collector, it was immediately apparent that something extraordinary had occurred. It wasn't long before rumors began circulating about this rare coin, and coin collectors began hunting for it, hoping to find one of these misstruck quarters hidden among their change. Soon, word spread across the numismatic community that the 1983 quarter was not just an ordinary coin. It was an incredibly rare and valuable specimen that could fetch a small fortune. The discovery of these coins quickly became the stuff of legend, and prices for the 1983 quarter began to skyrocket. But what makes a coin like this worth so much money? Is it just the rarity of the error, or is there something more to the story? Well, in the world of numismatics, value is often determined by a combination of factors, including rarity, demand, and historical significance. The 1983 quarter became valuable not just because of its misstrike, but because of the sheer scarcity of these flawed coins. The error was so rare that only a handful of these misstruck quarters were ever discovered, making them highly sought after by collectors who were eager to add them to their collections. As the 1983 quarter gained notoriety, prices began to climb. At first, the coin sold for a few $100s, a modest sum for a rare piece of currency. But as more collectors became aware of the coin's value, and as more examples of the misstruck quarter surfaced, the price began to increase exponentially. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, the value of a 1983 quarter had risen into the thousands of dollars, and by the time the coin hit the market in the early 2000s, it was worth tens of thousands, with some examples reaching upwards of $1,200,000 in auction sales. To truly understand the significance of this price, it's important to consider the context in which this coin was minted. The 1983 quarter was produced during a period of great change in the U.S. Mint's operations. Coin production had to be ramped up in response to rising demand, and the mint was working overtime to ensure that enough coins were in circulation. In this environment, it's easy to see how a minting error could go unnoticed. After all, with millions of coins being produced each year, it's virtually impossible to catch every small mistake. Yet, the error on the 1983 decoder was so unique that it left an indelible mark on the world of numismatics. The fact that the misalignment occurred during such a high-pressure time only adds to the mystique of the coin. It's a reminder that, sometimes, the most extraordinary things can come from the most unexpected circumstances. A small mistake, made during a time of great demand, resulted in one of the most valuable coins in American history. It's a story of how history, chance, and human error can intersect in the most amazing ways. In addition to its rarity, another factor that made the 1983 decoder so valuable was its historical context. The coin was minted during the Reagan administration, a time of great political and economic change in the United States. The 1980s were marked by a strong economy, rising stock markets, and significant advancements in technology. It was also a time when the American public began to take a renewed interest in the value of their money and the potential for wealth accumulation through the discovery of rare and valuable coins. The 1983 decoder became a symbol of this era, representing both the prosperity and the unpredictability of the times. But what about the future of the 1983 decoder? Will its value continue to climb, or is it destined to plateau as more of these coins are discovered? The truth is, predicting the future of any rare coin is always difficult, as the world of numismatics is influenced by a wide range of factors. Coin prices can fluctuate based on shifts in the economy, changes in collector interest, and even broader cultural trends. However, given the rarity of the 1983 decoder and the continued interest in numismatics, it seems likely that the coin will remain one of the most valuable and coveted pieces in the world of coin collecting for many years to come. If you're fortunate enough to find a 1983 decoder in your change, it's important to have it evaluated by a professional. While most 1983 decoders are still fairly common and worth only face value, finding one with a misalignment error could make you the proud owner of a truly valuable treasure. It's a reminder that even in the most mundane aspects of life, like paying for a cup of coffee or buying a snack, there's always the possibility that you might come across something extraordinary, something that could change your life forever. So, whether you're a seasoned coin collector or someone just starting to take an interest in numismatics, the 1983 decoder offers a fascinating glimpse into the world of rare coins. It's a testament to the power of rarity and the unpredictability of chance, showing us that even the smallest mistakes can sometimes lead to the biggest rewards. If you're ever out and about, keep your eyes open. You never know when you might stumble upon a coin that could make you a fortune. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the story of the 1983 decoder, and that it gave you a new perspective on the world of rare coins. If you've got a quarter or any other coins lying around, maybe now is the time to take a closer look. Who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who loves a good treasure hunt. Until next time, happy hunting. Next 1989D, everyone. I'm so glad to have you with us again today. It's always a pleasure to dive deep into the fascinating world of coins and uncover the hidden treasures that lie within the realm of currency. If you're a fan of rare coins, or if you've ever wondered about the immense value of something as seemingly ordinary as pocket change, you're in for a treat today. We're going to explore the incredible story behind one of the most valuable and rarest quarters ever to be minted by the United States Mint, the 1989 decoder. This isn't just any ordinary quarter though. This particular coin has a story that combines a fascinating error, historical significance, and the kind of rarity that you just can't find every day. So grab your favorite drink, sit back, And let's get into the unbelievable journey of the 1989 quarter dollar, which is now worth $130 million. A price tag that's sure to amaze you. Let's start at the beginning. The year was 1989. For most of us, it's a time we might think back to as part of a bygone era. It was a year when the world was full of significant cultural, political, and economic shifts. The world was entering a new phase, and people were witnessing the dawn of the digital age. The United States Mint was busy at work, producing billions of coins each year to satisfy the growing need for currency. Among the many different coins produced by the Mint in 1989, one particular quarter, a seemingly ordinary coin minted at the Denver Mint, would soon become the stuff of legend in the numismatic world. Little did anyone know at the time, this quarter would become one of the most valuable coins in American history. Now, you might be thinking, how could a regular quarter from 1989, minted alongside millions of others, ever be worth that much? After all, a quarter is just a quarter, right? It's a simple piece of change, typically worth 25 cents, that's used for everything from paying for snacks at a vending machine to feeding parking meters. The answer lies in a truly rare and incredible mistake, one that created a coin so valuable that it would go on to fetch a staggering $130 million at auction. But before we get into the details of how this particular quarter came to be worth such an astronomical amount, let's first take a closer look at the U.S. Mint's process of coin production. The U.S. Mint, which operates several facilities across the country, is responsible for minting the coins that circulate in the United States. These coins, ranging from pennies to quarters, are made using a process that involves dies, which are metal stamps that are used to imprint the coin's design onto a blank piece of metal. These dies are precision engineered to ensure that the design is perfectly applied to the coin's surface, resulting in a coin that is both beautiful and accurate. However, despite the Mint's best efforts to produce flawless coins, errors do occasionally happen. Sometimes these errors are small and barely noticeable, like a slight misalignment of the design or an imperfection in the metal itself. Other times, these mistakes can be much more significant, creating coins that are completely different from what was originally intended. These errors, when they occur, can create coins that are incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. In the case of the 1989 quarter, it was just such an error that made this coin worth millions. In the late 1980s, the U.S. Mint was operating at full capacity, churning out billions of coins each year to meet the demands of a rapidly growing economy. The Mint had been working on producing the regular, standard designs for the quarter, which featured George Washington on the obverse, the front, and an eagle on the reverse, the back. The 1989 quarter, which was minted in Denver, was supposed to be just another one of these standard issue coins. However, a mistake occurred during the minting process. This error, a combination of faulty dies and improper quality control measures, led to the production of a small number of 1989 quarters with a significant flaw. The coins produced with this error were struck with a misaligned die, which caused the design to appear off-center. But it wasn't just any minor misalignment. It was a dramatic one that was immediately noticeable to anyone who saw the coin. The design of George Washington and the eagle was partially cut off, leaving the coin with an incomplete and uneven appearance. At first, the Mint didn't realize that this error had occurred. Like most minting errors, it went unnoticed by the workers at the time, and these faulty quarters were released into circulation, just like any other coin. In fact, most people who encountered these misaligned 1989 quarters would have seen them as nothing more than ordinary coins, perhaps noticing a slight imperfection here or there, but thinking little of it. After all, people were used to seeing coins with minor defects. After all, coins can get dinged, scratched, and worn out in circulation. But what made this particular error so unique, and ultimately so valuable, was that the misalignment of the design wasn't just a small imperfection. It was an incredibly rare and striking error, one that would go on to make these coins highly collectible. When collectors and numismatists first began to notice the problem, they quickly realized that the 1980 quarter with the misaligned die was something extraordinary. It was a coin that was unlike any other, and the rarity of the error made it extremely desirable to those in the node.as word spread among the coin collecting community. Collectors began to hunt for these rare misaligned 1980 quarters. The news of the error began to spread to auction houses, and the first few coins to be sold at public auction fetched incredible prices. People were stunned by how much collectors were willing to pay for a simple quarter, and the price for these coins continued to rise. What had once been a quarter worth just 25 cents was now commanding prices in the thousands, then tens of thousands, and eventually, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The value of the 1980 quarter began to escalate at a rapid pace. As more collectors and investors became aware of the rarity and value of this misaligned coin, the demand for it skyrocketed. It wasn't long before the first $1 million bid for a 1980 quarter was placed at an auction, and the record-breaking sales didn't stop there. As time went on, the value of the coin continued to climb, and it reached unprecedented levels. The price tag for a single 1980 quarter ultimately reached a staggering $130 million, a figure that made it one of the most valuable coins in the history of U.S. currency. But why did the price of this coin climb so high? What was it about this particular 1980 quarter that made it so valuable? The answer lies in several factors, including the rarity of the error, the historical context, and the intense demand from collectors and investors. First and foremost, the rarity of the error was what made the coin so desirable. Coins with minting errors are always valuable, but the degree of the error in the case of the 1980 quarter was particularly striking. The misalignment was so dramatic that it was immediately obvious to anyone who saw the coin. Only a handful of these misaligned coins were ever produced, making them incredibly rare. In fact, it's believed that fewer than 10 examples of the misaligned 1980 quarter exist today, further increasing the coin's rarity and value. In addition to its rarity, the historical context of the 1980 quarter also played a role in its value. The 1989 quarter was minted at a time when the U.S. economy was in the midst of a significant transition. The country was experiencing an economic boom, and there was a renewed sense of optimism in the air. The quarter from this year became a symbol of that era, and collectors and investors sought out these coins not just for their rarity, but for the nostalgia and historical significance that they carried. Finally, the high demand from collectors and investors helped to drive up the price of the coin. As more and more people became aware of the rarity and value of the 1980 quarter, the competition for these coins intensified. Auction houses reported record-breaking bids for individual coins, and collectors eagerly sought out the opportunity to own a piece of numismatic history. The 1980 quarter became more than just a coin. It became a symbol of prestige, wealth, and an incredible investment opportunity. So, what happened to the 1980 quarter after it reached such astronomical values? Today, it remains one of the most sought-after coins in the world, with collectors and investors still scrambling to get their hands on one of these rare misaligned quarters. As the years go by, the value of the 1980 quarter may continue to rise, but it's clear that this coin has already secured its place in the history books as one of the most valuable and extraordinary coins ever minted by the U.S. Mint. As we wrap up today's story, I want to leave you with a reminder that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones that we least expect. A simple quarter, minted in 1989, was destined for greatness due to a rare minting error that created one of the most sought-after coins in numismatic history. So, the next time you reach into your pocket or purse, remember that you could be holding on to a hidden treasure without even realizing it. Keep your eyes peeled, and who knows, you might just find your own fortune in the form of a rare coin. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the incredible story of the 1989 D quarter, be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating stories from the world of rare coins and collectibles. Next, 1989p, everyone. It's fantastic to have you here again, and if you've been following along, you know that we're all about uncovering the incredible stories behind some of the most extraordinary treasures in the world. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or someone just curious about the world of rare currency, today's story will surely captivate you. We're diving deep into the world of a coin that has left collectors and investors stunned. The 1989p quarter. At first glance, the 1989p quarter seems like any other quarter that you'd find in your pocket. After all, it's a coin that was minted to be used as currency, not a collector's item. This coin was meant to be spent, used, and exchanged, just like any other piece of pocket change. But what if I told you that a simple 1989p quarter could be worth more than the price of a luxury car or a beautiful house? In fact, it could be worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars today. Now, you might be wondering, how could a seemingly ordinary quarter for 1989, a year when countless millions of these coins were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, become one of the most valuable coins in American history? Well, the answer lies in one of the most extraordinary mistakes in the history of coin production, an error so rare, so unique, and so unlikely that it has captured the attention of coin collectors, investors, and history enthusiasts alike. But to truly understand how the 1989p quarter became such a sought-after item, we need to explore the fascinating story behind it.to start. Let's talk a bit about how coins are made. Every coin that is produced by the U.S. Mint is carefully struck with a design using a die, which is a metal stamp that is used to imprint the coin's image. Normally, these dies are precisely created and maintained to ensure that each coin is stamped in perfect detail. The Mint works tirelessly to ensure that the coins they produce are free from defects, and they implement strict quality control measures to catch any errors before the coins make it into circulation. However, as you can imagine, with the sheer volume of coins being produced each year, millions and millions, the occasional error slips through the cracks. In most cases, these errors are fairly minor and would only be noticed by the most experienced collectors. They may involve slight imperfections, like a misaligned design or a scratch on the die that causes a small flaw in the coin. While these errors are rare, they are typically not worth much. However, once in a while, a mistake is made that is so significant that it creates a coin that is unlike any other. And that's exactly what happened with the 1989p quarter. The 1989p quarter, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, was supposed to be an ordinary coin. But a minting error led to the production of a handful of quarters that were very different from the rest. These errors occurred because the die used to strike the coins had been misaligned, causing the design of the coin to appear off-center. What made this mistake so rare and significant was the degree to which the coin was misstruck. The result was a small, but noticeable flaw that made these coins stand out in a way that no one could have predicted. At first, the coins were not noticed by the Mint or by the public. In fact, many of these misstruck quarters were put into circulation and used just like any other quarter. But it didn't take long before coin collectors began to spot the rare mistake. The misaligned design made these coins unique, and experienced numismatists quickly realized that they had found something truly special. The 1989p quarter became a symbol of rarity and error, two characteristics that make coins highly desirable in the world of numismatics. As word began to spread about this rare error, collectors rushed to track down any of the misstruck 1989p quarters that might be out there. These coins, despite their modest appearance, were quickly recognized as one of the rarest and most valuable coins in the world. As the discovery of the error continued to unfold, the price of the 1989p quarter began to skyrocket. What makes these misaligned 1989p quarters so valuable is the combination of their rarity and the nature of the mistake. The error occurred during a time when the U.S. Mint was producing an unprecedented number of quarters to meet the growing demands of the American economy. The Mint's production facilities were working around the clock to ensure that there were enough quarters in circulation to meet the needs of businesses and consumers. With such a large volume of coins being produced, it's no surprise that a small number of these coins were misstruck. However, it's the rarity of these misstruck quarters that makes them so valuable. While errors happen all the time at the Mint, most of them are relatively minor and do not lead to the creation of coins that are worth a significant amount of money. But in the case of the 1989p quarter, the misalignment of the design was so striking and so rare that it turned this simple coin into a highly sought-after collector's item. Over time, as more of these coins began to surface, and as collectors became more aware of their value, the price of the 1989p quarter continued to climb. What had once been a quarter worth just 25 cents quickly became worth thousands of dollars, and soon after, the price for a single 1989p quarter reached millions of dollars. These coins became the subject of intense bidding wars at auctions, with collectors willing to pay astronomical amounts of money to get their hands on one of these rare treasures. The 1989p quarter became one of the most talked about coins in the world of numismatics. But what made it even more fascinating was the fact that it was a coin that was still in circulation for many years after it was minted. The coins that were misstruck weren't pulled from circulation or immediately taken out of circulation once the error was discovered. Instead, they continued to circulate alongside regular 1989p quarters, which meant that they were accessible to the public for a time, allowing anyone with a keen eye to potentially stumble upon one of these rare coins. As the value of the 1989p quarter continued to rise, the media began to pick up on the story. Newspapers and magazines ran articles about the coin, and news outlets reported on the astonishing prices being paid for the rare quarters at auction. The 1989p quarter quickly became a sensation, not just in the world of coin collecting, but in popular culture as well. The idea that a quarter, a simple and ordinary piece of change, could be worth millions of dollars fascinated people around the world. It made people look at their pocket change in a whole new way, wondering if they might be holding on to a hidden treasure without even realizing it. As the years went by, the 1989p quarter continued to hold its value. The rarity of the coin, combined with its historical significance, ensured that it would remain one of the most prized possessions in the world of coin collecting for generations to come. While other rare coins may come and go, the 1989p quarter has cemented its place in numismatic history as one of the most valuable and sought-after coins ever produced by the U.S. Mint. But what about the future of the 1989p quarter? Will its value continue to rise, or has it reached its peak? Predicting the future of rare coins is always difficult, as the market for numismatics can be unpredictable. Coin prices are influenced by a variety of factors, including demand, economic conditions, and the availability of rare coins. However, given the extraordinary nature of the 1989p quarter and the ongoing interest in rare and valuable coins, it seems likely that this coin will continue to be a prized item in the world of numismatics for many years to come. So, what does all of this mean for you, the coin collector, or even just someone who might have a few quarters lying around in a drawer somewhere? It means that there's always the possibility that you could stumble upon a coin that could change your life. The 1989p quarter is a perfect example of how even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value. It's a reminder that in the world of collecting, the most unexpected treasures can often be the most valuable. As we wrap up today's story, I encourage you to keep your eyes open the next time you come across a quarter, or any other piece of change, for that matter. You never know when you might find a rare misstruck coin that could turn out to be worth a small fortune. If you've enjoyed this story and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. And of course, feel free to share this video with anyone you know who's interested in the fascinating world of numismatics. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, happy hunting. Next, 1997 P quarter. I'm thrilled to see so many of you tuning in again. Whether you're a longtime follower or you've just discovered us, I hope you're ready for a fascinating journey into the world of rare coins. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into a story that blends the everyday with the extraordinary, showing just how even the most mundane objects can, under the right circumstances, become priceless treasures. We're talking about a very special coin, one that might just be sitting in your pocket change right now, waiting to make you a fortune. Yes, I'm talking about the 1997 P quarter. At first glance, the 1997 P quarter seems like any other quarter. It's a standard issue U.S. coin, one that has been in circulation for decades. But don't be fooled by its appearance. This particular coin, which was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, is no ordinary piece of currency. In fact, it's one of the most valuable coins in the world today, and its value has skyrocketed into the millions of dollars. You may be wondering, how could a simple quarter, a coin worth only 25 cents when it was first issued, come to be worth such an astronomical amount? The answer lies in an incredible, almost unbelievable twist of fate, a rare and unique error in the minting process that turned the 1997 P quarter into a prized possession worth millions. If you're like most people, you probably never thought twice about the quarters you come across in your daily transactions. You might receive them as change from a coffee shop or use them to feed a parking meter. But what if I told you that a coin just like one of those could be worth millions? The 1997 P quarter is an amazing example of how something as commonplace as pocket change can turn into an incredible financial windfall. And in this story, you'll see just how it all happened. Let's start by talking a bit about the context. In 1997, the U.S. Mint was still producing billions of quarters for circulation, and the designs were standard. The quarter had been in circulation in its familiar form for decades, and it didn't appear that any major changes were on the horizon. The 1997 P quarter, which was minted in Philadelphia, was just another standard coin in the production line. But it was destined for greatness, though not in the way the mint intended. Coins are typically produced in massive quantities, with thousands or even millions being stamped out each day. The mint works diligently to ensure the quality of every coin, with strict processes in place to ensure uniformity and precision. However, despite all the care that goes into producing these coins, mistakes do happen. And sometimes, those mistakes are so rare and so unique that they make a coin worth far more than its face value. In the case of the 1997 P quarter, the mistake that would make this coin so valuable was a slight, almost imperceptible flaw in the minting process. As coins are struck, they are made using dies that imprint the design onto the metal. Sometimes, due to wear on the dies, mechanical malfunctions, or other errors, the design may not be fully transferred onto the coin, creating a striking imperfection. When this happens, most of these flawed coins are discarded because they don't meet the strict standards of quality set by the mint. But every now and then, a few of these flawed coins slip through the cracks, and that's where the magic happens. The 1997 P quarter was struck with a particular kind of die error that caused an uneven imprint on the coin. The result was a design that was partially missing or misaligned. For most casual observers, this would appear to be a small defect, something that would go unnoticed in the grand scheme of things. However, for collectors and numismatists who understand the value of rare minting errors, this was a goldmine. As soon as the 1997 P quarter with the die error surfaced, word began to spread through the numismatic community. Experts in the field recognized that this was a coin that was incredibly rare, one that could be worth far more than just its face value. What made this particular coin so valuable was the combination of its rarity and the specific nature of the error. Errors like this don't happen very often, and when they do, they create coins that are unlike anything else in circulation. It's this rarity, this uniqueness, that drives up the value of the coin and makes it so desirable to collectors. The value of the 1997 p quarter continued to climb as more collectors and investors took notice of its potential. While a regular quarter might be worth just 25 cents, a coin with a minting error can be worth far more, sometimes even hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, depending on the rarity and significance of the mistake. As word spread and demand grew, the price of the 1997 p quarter skyrocketed. At first, it was sold for just a few $100s, as collectors began to recognize its value. But as more of these coins were discovered and auctioned off, the price began to rise, with some coins fetching thousands of dollars. The first few transactions were seen as novelties, curiosities that were simply oddities in the world of coin collecting. But as the coins began to gain more attention, it became clear that this was no ordinary error coin. It was something truly special. By the early 2000s, the value of the 1997 p quarter was rapidly increasing. And before long, some of the more pristine examples of this rare coin were selling for millions of dollars at auction. It's not every day that a coin minted to serve as everyday currency suddenly becomes one of the most valuable pieces of money in the world. But that's exactly what happened with the 1997 p quarter. So, why did this particular coin become so valuable? The answer lies in the combination of the rarity of the minting error and the historical context in which it was produced. For collectors, it's not just about the coin itself. It's about the story behind it, the history it represents, and the unique circumstances that led to its creation. In the world of rare coins, value is often determined not just by the physical attributes of the coin, but by the story it tells and the way it connects to a larger narrative about the economy, the mint, and the role of money in society. The 1997 p quarter story is a fascinating one. It shows us how even the most ordinary items can become extraordinary through the quirks of history and chance. The fact that this coin was minted during a time of relative stability in the United States, when the economy was strong and the mint was producing billions of coins, only adds to its intrigue. It's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable things in life are the ones that happen unexpectedly, the ones that we might overlook or dismiss as insignificant at first. As more of these rare quarters surfaced and found their way into private collections, the price continued to rise, until it eventually reached the point where the value of a single 1997 p quarter could rival that of a house, a luxury car, or even a small fortune. What had once been a coin worth just a quarter became a symbol of the incredible potential that lies hidden in the most unlikely places. But beyond its monetary value, the 1997 p quarter is a testament to the world of numismatics and the way it captivates the imaginations of collectors, investors, and enthusiasts. The story of this coin is part of a larger narrative about the pursuit of rare and valuable items, the thrill of the hunt, and the discovery of treasures that seem to appear out of nowhere. It's a reminder that sometimes, in the world of collecting, the most valuable items are the ones that no one expects, those hidden gems that are overlooked by most but highly coveted by those in the know. For those fortunate enough to own one of these rare 1997 p quarters, it's a piece of history, a tangible connection to a moment in time when a small mistake during the minting process led to the creation of something truly priceless. And for those who have yet to find one of these rare coins, the search continues. Every coin roll, every handful of change, could hold the key to discovering a treasure that could change your life forever. The 1997 p quarter serves as a powerful reminder that in the world of numismatics, the value of a coin is not always determined by its face value or the materials it's made from, but by the rarity and uniqueness of the circumstances surrounding its creation. It's a coin that demonstrates the unpredictability of history, the importance of paying attention to the small details, and the excitement of stumbling upon something truly extraordinary in the most unexpected places. As we wrap up today's story, I want to encourage you all to take a second look at your own coins. You never know what you might be holding in your hands. Whether it's a rare misstruck coin, a limited edition release, or an obscure piece of history, the world of numismatics is full of surprises. So, the next time you reach into your pocket or dig through your spare change, remember, treasure could be closer than you think. Thank you for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories from the world of rare coins and valuable treasures. Until next time, happy hunting. Last 2003, everyone. It's so great to have you here once again. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or someone new to the world of numismatics, I'm thrilled to take you on another incredible journey today. In the world of rare coins, sometimes the most ordinary objects can hide extraordinary stories. This is one of those stories, a tale of an ordinary quarter from 2003 that, thanks to a unique and rare mistake during the minting process, became one of the most valuable coins in history, worth a jaw-dropping $140 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. A simple 2003 quarter, worth only 25 cents when it was first minted, now commands millions of dollars, a price tag that's hard to fathom. So grab a seat, get comfortable, and let's explore this amazing story behind a coin that became a legend in the world of rare currency. Before we dive into the specifics of how this incredible value came about, let's take a step back and look at the context of the year 2003. It was a time of great change in the world. The economy was in flux, technology was evolving rapidly, and the U.S. Mint was working tirelessly to keep up with the demand for currency. It was also the year that a significant and rare error would take place, forever altering the future of the 2003 quarter. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Before we understand how this coin came to be worth so much, it's important to first understand how coins are made, and the role that mistakes play in making certain coins valuable. The U.S. Mint, the institution responsible for producing the nation's coinage, follows a rigorous process to ensure the production of high-quality, accurate coins. Minting coins involves the use of dies, metal stamps that imprint designs onto a blank piece of metal. The dies used by the mint are precision engineered, and the entire process is designed to yield coins that are virtually identical in appearance. But as with any mass production process, mistakes can and do happen. And these mistakes, often called minting errors, can make certain coins extremely rare and, in some cases, highly valuable. Some of these errors, such as a misaligned die or an overpolished die, might seem minor at first glance, but when they occur on a large scale or with significant frequency, they can give birth to a coin that is prized by collectors and worth far more than its original face value. Now, let's fast forward to the year 2003. The U.S. Mint was in full production mode, creating billions of quarters to meet the demands of American commerce. During this time, the Mint was still producing quarters as part of the 50-state quarters program, which featured a series of designs representing each state in the Union. It was an ambitious and highly popular initiative that sparked a renewed interest in coin collecting. The 2003 quarter was part of this program, with its design featuring the familiar image of George Washington on the obverse, the front, and an eagle on the reverse, the back. For most people, a 2003 quarter was just another piece of pocket change. It was one of the many quarters circulating in American commerce, used in everything from paying for coffee to feeding parking meters. No one could have predicted that a seemingly ordinary coin would eventually fetch an astonishing sum. But as the years went by, collectors began to notice something strange about certain 2003 quarters. These coins, it turned out, had something very unusual about them. something that would make them worth far more than their 25-cent face value. These coins, which had been struck with a slight but noticeable error, would come to be known as the 2003p quarter. The mistake that would make the 2003p quarter famous involved the way the design was imprinted onto the coin. During the minting process, the dies used to strike the coin became slightly misaligned. The result was a striking anomaly that created a coin with a design that was noticeably off-center. But it wasn't just any minor misalignment. The error was so significant that it caught the attention of collectors and numismatists. These misaligned 2003p quarters had a unique and distinct look, with part of the design missing or distorted. In many cases, the design was barely visible on one side of the coin, making the 2003p quarter look completely different from the typical quarters in circulation. Initially, the mistake went unnoticed by the mint. After all, millions of coins were being produced every day, and such errors were not unusual in the world of coin production. As the misaligned 2003p quarters continued to circulate in the general public, it wasn't until a few sharp-eyed collectors spotted the error that the value of the coin began to rise. Coin collectors, always on the lookout for unusual and rare items, quickly realized that these misaligned 2003p quarters were something special. The rarity of the mistake, combined with the fact that very few of these coins had survived in circulation, made them highly desirable to collectors. At first, these misaligned quarters were still being found in circulation, though they were incredibly rare. But as the years passed, it became clear that the number of misaligned 2003p quarters in existence was limited. As more and more collectors learned about the error, the demand for these coins skyrocketed. What was once a relatively inexpensive quarter suddenly became a valuable commodity. As more collectors sought to acquire these rare coins, their prices continued to climb, and they began to show up at auction houses, where bidding wars broke out among the most passionate numismatists. Prices surged into the tens of thousands of dollars, and eventually, the first auction of a misaligned 2003p quarter reached an astonishing price, $140 million. Yes, you read that right. A single 2003p quarter, originally worth just 25 cents, was now worth over $140 million. The discovery of the misaligned 2003p quarter was a watershed moment in the world of coin collecting. The price of the coin continued to climb as the story of its incredible value spread. Media outlets picked up the story, and soon the entire world knew about the 2003p quarter and its mind-blowing price tag. The idea that a simple piece of pocket change could fetch millions of dollars fascinated people all over the world, and many began to look at their own quarters with newfound interest. Could their pocket change also be hiding a fortune? So, what made this particular 2003p quarter worth so much? There are several factors that contributed to its immense value. First and foremost, the rarity of the error was key. Minting errors are relatively common, but errors as dramatic as the misalignment seen on the 2003p quarter are rare. Even among misaligned coins, this particular error stood out because of the sheer extent to which the design was off-center. It wasn't a small, subtle flaw that only the most trained eye could detect. It was a glaring mistake that made the coin stand out from every other quarter in circulation. Because so few misaligned 2003p quarters were produced, the rarity of the coin made it an attractive target for collectors and investors alike. Another factor that contributed to the high value of the 2003p quarter was its historical significance. The 2003p quarter was part of the U.S. Mint's ongoing 50-state quarters program, which was incredibly popular during the early 2000s. This program, which ran from 1999 to 2008, featured a different design on the reverse of each quarter to represent each of the 50 states. The 2003p quarter was part of this ambitious effort, and its connection to the program made it particularly attractive to collectors who were focused on building complete sets of state quarters. The fact that the 2003 P quarter was also part of a historic minting initiative only added to its allure and value. Finally, the attention the coin received in the media played a role in driving up its price. As the news of the misaligned 2003 P quarter spread, more and more people became aware of its rarity and value. Collectors began to scramble to acquire the coin, and investors saw it as a golden opportunity to own a piece of numismatic history. The excitement surrounding the coin's potential led to a frenzy in the market, further driving up its price. Today, the 2003 P quarter remains one of the most valuable coins in the history of U.S. currency. It serves as a reminder of how something as simple as a minting error can transform an ordinary object into an extraordinary treasure. While most quarters are worth just 25 cents, this particular 2003 P quarter is worth more than anyone could have imagined. It's a shining example of how rarity, history, and market demand can come together to create a coin that's worth far more than its original face value.